So in this section, we're going to discuss how fear is generated, and in order to overcome it, we first must understand it. So firstly, on a simple biochemical level, rationality can only take place if there isn't fear. The mind has something unique to the human that no mammal has: prefrontal lobes. Now, these prefrontal lobes are where I can think independent of my emotions. But when my emotions are strong, they override my intellect. Now, we see this both in love, but right now we're going to focus on fear. A simple example is this. Imagine you're walking in a park, and suddenly someone says, by the way, in this park, there are landmines from World War II. Now, if you think the person is joking, well, you won't get afraid. But if you think the person is a park ranger, you'll get very scared. What will happen? You'll freeze. God forbid, you don't want to blow up. So suddenly the mind can only think one thought. How do I protect myself from this danger? Now, on a biochemical level, what happens is we have something called the amygdala nuclei region. The amygdala is like an almond shape, and now this is something in all mammals, and it basically creates instinctive reactions. A person who's feeling fear literally has a different body than a person who's feeling love. They start to pump adrenaline, their heart rate goes up. They're in a completely different state. Their metabolism changes. In other words, you are not the same person if you are feeling fear. And if you have anxiety, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So the first thing that we have to do is get out of the state of fear. Now, obviously, it doesn't mean you can't think that something bad can happen. But there is what it says in Kabbalah, an immediate fear and a distant fear. Immediate fear is being in the state of fear. That means right now I am afraid, right? If I'm walking in the park and the guy says there is landmines, I'm afraid right now because any step can cause a misstep. And that's a terrible state to be in. The other fear is, okay, I'm thinking over there is a landmine. Okay, so I won't go over there. So one fear is the fear that you can handle. The other fear is the fear that you can't handle. You don't know what to do about it. So if it's something that you can handle, obviously you want to handle it. But if it's something that you can't handle and it's impacting your life, we have to overcome this fear. Now, the first thing you need to know about fear is directly related to pleasure. In fact, in the seesaw model, love, why do we love something? Because it will give me a pleasure. I love that person, I feel love from them, it gives me a pleasure. I love a cup of Coke, it gives me a little high, something like that. Fear is fear of pain, right? I'm afraid of that person, they might shame me, or I'm afraid of the bee, it might sting me. So therefore, love and fear is connected to pleasure and pain. So let's say that I'm going to go to somebody who's going to give me great pain. Why would I do it? Well, maybe my tooth is in pain. If I go to the dentist, he'll take it out. Now, he's going to hurt me. He's going to give me a shot. And yet, I go to the dentist all the time, and he gives me a shot, and he takes out a cavity. In other words, I can choose to go even into a state of pain if I believe this is for my benefit. So in other words, fear creates a retraction, but if I have a love, this is the seesaw model, it will go like this. If I have a love, I have a reason to approach the fear and to deal with it, then suddenly it has no power over me and I have power over it. So the first reason people become worried is because we have something personal that is worrying us. Let's use a very common example, and that is finances. Many people, unfortunately, with the economy being the way it is, have fears related to finances. So what do I do about this fear? It's not distant, it's approaching, it's here, I'm feeling it. And the answer is the only way to deal with a fear that is right now in my face is to trust that whatever God does for me is not a pain but a pleasure. The moment we can see this as an act of God, it will change the entire story. Because I trust that God is here for me. And the moment I see that everything in my life comes from God, and whatever God is doing is only for my interest, this is in my interest, so it changes me. Why would I be afraid of something that's in my interest? And so, again, this doesn't mean to be irresponsible. It doesn't mean, okay, I'm not going to be worried about bills anymore. But what it means is that sometimes there is nothing you can do. Our job in life is to be proactive on a rational level. But if there is nothing you can do, you have to now deal with the fact that you need to get rid of the fear. Because the fear is only a tremendous debilitating disease. And the way you get rid of that is by telling yourself, this is a blessing from God. I don't understand why. God is doing this to help me. Thank you very much, God. Thank you.